Artificial intelligence is more than just hype. It has the potential to change the way we work. It can also help get you closer to your customers. With customer expectations rising and personalisation now an expectation, businesses can use generative AI to help maintain customer loyalty and deliver magical customer experiences. I'm Leandro Perez, Vice President and CMO of Salesforce Asia Pacific, and I'm excited to be hosting another Salesforce Executive Conversation, where our executives share their thoughts, perspectives, and experience working with the C-suite and other thought leaders across the globe. We've already had so many incredible conversations. If you've missed an episode, you can catch up at sfdc.co/conversations. Today, I'm sitting down in sunny Singapore with Marc Mathieu, Senior Vice President of Web3 and Emerging Tech Studio at Salesforce. Marc is a storied marketer known for humanizing Fortune 500 global brands such as Unilever, Coca-Cola, Danone, and Samsung. He is an industry visionary who partners with Salesforce C-suite customers and the Global Advisory Board to implement successful digital transformations and Web3 and emerging tech strategies. Welcome, Marc.
Glad to be here.
So, Marc, we'll just start off with a couple of icebreakers. Taking you back to when you were a child, what did you want to be?
I think if I had the choice, I would probably have tried to pursue a career in theater. Not as an actor, but as a storyteller. The idea of directing, of telling a story through the power of stage was something that I always was fascinated by. And in a way, I chose to take the stage of a business or a brand to tell the story of that business or that brand through a lot of the steps I've had in my career. So I might have done a little bit of that, not on the theater stage, but on the business stage. But that was something I think that I was fascinated by and still am.
There's still time, Now, talking about AI there in the broader sense, it's not new. We've been doing this for some time. Where in the business do you see the interest at the moment, where we might be able to find some use cases?
So what's fascinating, I've always been fascinated in my career and in my life about the left and the right brain. One that is, let's put it that way, more productive, and the other one that's a little bit more creative. And I find that generative AI is actually going to help on both sides. You know, there is a huge application in, businesses that is already, starting to really be part of our everyday life, which is the productivity of, sales, service agents, marketers, etc. But then there is also a huge opportunity, a new almost age of creativity that's opening up, because not only now you can ask the AI to imagine anything, but on top of it, it can really be done in a record time. It can be done in hours, in minutes, what it used to take weeks or hours to do before.
So, Marc, you mentioned a lot of potential for AI there. Let's drill into a typical user in an organization. So you mentioned sales. What might this mean for someone that's in sales?
So one of the beauty, in particular, of what Salesforce solution brings to our customers is the fact that in order to be truly useful, the AI needs to be trained both with public data, but also with private, with customer data. And once you blend all that public data and the private data of a brand, of a customer, you're able to really personalize the way the AI works for you. So for sales, it's going to enable to pull into all your historic data to better prepare for a meeting and faster, so that all that time that usually gets wasted in a way to prepare for a meeting, sometime 3 or 4 times longer than actually the meeting itself, the ability to have on the spot, in real time, accurate data that comes to you as the conversation rolls, and the ability to pull new data again, based on all the data that you have that's immediately available. And then the follow-up, the ability of leaving a meeting and immediately have a recommended follow-up, that's prompted by the AI. All those tasks are going to be accelerated, facilitated by the beauty of a generative AI assistant in a way that's going to make you much more effective and much more productive.
So you're definitely supercharging that salesperson to be more productive. You mentioned something very interesting there, and I want to double click on it because I don't know if everyone understands the difference between public data and the internal data and how that works in these language models. Do you want to maybe explain a little bit of why that's so important, and as opposed to someone using ChatGPT in the public space?
Yeah, I mean, what's really important is that in the end of the day, your AI is going to be as good as your data. And in order for it to be really relevant to you, to your business, to your brand, to your culture, you actually need to really use that private data in order to make sure that that personalization, the way you actually input the human being, because we really believe that in the end, generative AI is not here to replace people, but to enhance them, to augment them. And so the beauty of this is that you end up having people who are enhanced by the AI based on their data, their brand voice, their culture, and it makes everybody that much better.
So in that answer, I want to pick up on something that may not be obvious for folks that are just learning about AI here. What is the difference between a language learning model that has public access data as well as private, and why is that important for it to have both?
Well, the public data is basically all the data available that you can pick on the internet, and that basically is what ChatGPT is trained on. The private data is really your data, your brand data, your company data, and you really need to be able to use that personal data that has your history, but also your brand tonality, your culture, in order to make sure that as you make that AI available to the people, at the end of the day, it's all about augmenting people, giving people the tools to be better at their job.
An area we're very excited about is customer service and how AI can facilitate, knowing that it's not always easy to run a customer service operation. How do you see this technology affecting that?
Yeah, customer service is really interesting because service agents have a lot on their plate. They receive a lot of calls, lots of questions, not always a very easy situation when people call. And the ability indeed to have a sidekick that really gives them the ability to systematically and very fast pull in all the data, not just the service history, but the marketing, the sales history that person has. Bring all of that in order to generate potential responses to the questions that a customer may have when they call. Is fascinating because it enables to have much more quality data, and again, to be able to answer using the full portfolio of product and brand opportunities, the brand voice, etc. So it enables to turn that service call very rapidly into a marketing call, into a sales call. And one of the things that we see generative AI bringing really is this ability to create conversions between the functions. And one of the reasons why I joined Salesforce was because I don't believe anymore in the silos. I didn't want to be the chief silo officer of one of the silos that I could lead in a company, which in my case many times has been marketing. And I really believe that the way to build brand and to serve customers, consumers, is really by touching all the functions and having them work in harmony to serve the customer need. And so that's what generative AI is able to do. Let's be honest, much more than human beings, because the AI is going to break those silos.
So Marc, what are you hearing about AI from your peers? What are they saying at the moment?
So it's a very good question because the answer is a lot of interest, a lot of curiosity, a lot of personal experimentation, but I'm not sure there is yet a very clear point of view of how generative AI is going to change, in particular, marketing. I think that if you think about marketing, it's always been about creating relevance and differentiation, and finding a way to wow people with your product or your brand in unexpected ways, in ways that are high on the experience. You can create experiences that have not existed and make people feel like they're there. You can potentially imagine scenarios for people that are truly personal and that will touch people in ways that again can be limitless as long as you respect people's privacy, which I think is going to be a very interesting frontier, not to cross as marketers if you don't want to lose that trust. So I think we're going to see it unfold under our eyes. What I hope is that the marketers who are supposed to be, on one hand, people who love people, and also people who have great imagination, I think that they bring both their imagination, but also they love and respect of people to the party, and that they really do it in a way that truly enhances people's lives, and not just is another way to a trick to sell a product.
So Marc, at Salesforce, we've always been at the forefront of changes, whether it was to the cloud or to social or mobile. Do you see us now leading here in this technology as well?
I think the world of generative AI is one that Salesforce has been working now for over a decade. We're the first one to bring in our very own Einstein to CRM, at that time using not generative but predictive AI. And at that time, when Einstein was launched at Salesforce, it made a few thousand predictions a day. Now, Einstein predictive, not generative, is doing a trillion prediction a week, more than 200 billion prediction every single day. And with the power of generative AI, that's going to accelerate by one, if not several orders of magnitude, because you're going from neural networks that were 100 millions to 100 billions. And so clearly Salesforce has been on this journey for a while. We've been very fast to embrace as soon as it started to capture people's imagination, to embrace it and make it available in our product suite across service, sales, marketing, etc., and then cross cloud. So it's really for me a fantastic moment for Salesforce, but importantly for customer success, because it's a way for us to really rethink the boundaries, the limitation of customer success through the power of generative AI, and always bringing in our values of trust, of equality, of sustainability to the party. So I do believe this is going to be a game changer for Salesforce, for businesses, and for society.
So talking about AI, it's very exciting, but of course there are considerations that come around ethics and so forth. How are we thinking about this at Salesforce?
So again, because of our values, ethics is a very important part. Office of Ethics and Human Use has been working at this for a while, and developing our very own principles for responsible AI. And so I think we're really approaching in a way where we are taking responsibility for what the AI can do, and how it respects people, how it respects privacy, how it also respects origin of the data because one of the big questions that generative AI is going to pose is, does the data come from public or from private? Is it real? Is it not real? And we are very committed to have that honesty as one of the principles of responsible AI. In the way we design Einstein GPT, we design, the way we bring this to life for each and every one of our customers.
Talking a lot about AI and the potential here for businesses, what does this mean for the customer? Obviously, they don't know what you're using to deliver their experience. Is this positive for them? Is this going to make their experiences better with companies that they deal with?
One of the ways I like to often talk with CEOs and CXOs is Gen Z and tomorrow Gen Alpha. How do you future-proof your business and your brands for those new generations? And those new generations were born, with the iPhone. They were born with all those new technologies, and they use them, to communicate, to relate to one another, to project their identity. And so the reality, it's a way to future-proof, really, businesses for generations to come. And those new generations are definitely very in demand of new experiences. And in a way, I think back to the point about creativity, it's going to help people feel the thirst that people have for new enhanced experiences, to live things that they may not even have thought they could have ever experienced. If you go back to pre-travel, since we talked about travel, before people traveled, they didn't know the emotion of traveling. They just at best knew from somebody coming to a village talking about Africa, yes, bears, or, seeing pictures in books, or seeing, a black and white movie on the TV. So little by little, you enhance the experience based on what's possible. And I really think that AIs are going to open new ways of creating worlds that we couldn't have imagined could exist, but that in reality are going to become real. Those new generations, it's not because it's virtual or digital that it's not real. And we've learned that a lot in the world of Web3. Is going to be the same in generative AI. Everything that's going to be created is going to be, in a way, real for a lot of people.
We've been talking a lot about AI, but before that, we've also had a lot of history of knowing how important data is to organizations. Is the data part important for an organization to have in order before they can leverage the AI?
Yeah, that's probably the first question we should have talked about. You're right. I mean, at the end of the day, and I said it, your AI is only going to be as good as your data. And the way we think about success now is really a trilogy between, CRM, real-time data, and trusted AI. And this aspect of real-time data is not only a necessity, but also a possibility today. You can have data that's pulled in real time in ways that we couldn't have imagined before, and served to the person that is actually therefore enhanced by the job, to do their job by all that data. But that data is brought in a form of, immediately accessible natural language, information, is able to create analytics in a very suggestive way in real time. And so again, the data strategy, the single source of truth, is more important than ever before if you want to be able to unlock the power of your AI. So you're absolutely right that one of the things that's really great for Salesforce is, this customer 360 CRM that cuts across all the touch points and all the different ways a customer relates to a business or to a brand. But then how you're able to take all those relationships, those connections, into a single source of truth, bring all of that, in real time to the AI, so that the AI is able to actually pull into it and serve in a trusted way information that's going to augment the ability of a person to do their job more efficiently, but also more effectively.
So you've been obviously in this new space talking about AI, talking about data, CRM. I know you've also done a lot of work with Web3 technologies. Where are we at with Web3? I haven't been hearing as much as I used to. Is it still something organizations are looking to? Where is the future of this technology?
So sometimes I like to say, when Web3 and AI come together, a lot of people saying, oh, well, it's either or, so it used to be Web3 and now it's AI. And the reality, I don't think it's either or, it's both. And so there is a way of looking at AI. If you're in the world of Web3, you could almost say, is the party killer. Somehow Web3 was having a party, that party is kind of winding down, and here comes generative AI saying, hey, we're having fun here.
It's a new party.
So, but the reality, I think in a way, it could even be more the messiah. In a way, I think that Web3 might find some killer use case in supporting the needs of this expanding world of generative AI. And I continue to really believe that Web3 is going to still have a few months, maybe I've said until end of this year, early next year, of going through this crypto winter and so on. But it's definitely the underlying technology is here to stay. And we continue to work with lots of customers who continue to experiment either in pilots or even at scale in order to see how they can use that technology, again, to build new loyalty mechanisms, to build new ways of giving experience access to some customers, to also, in a way, create a digital marker of a physical product. So, and myself, as I speak to you, I try to avoid using the jargon of Web3 because one of the things that has been difficult for Web3 adoption is that it has, kept a lot of jargon, and you see a lot of brands like the Starbucks of this world trying to use Web3 and NFT technology without any of the jargons, so that they can the adoption much easier for people at scale.
Marc, we've been talking about some exciting technologies here, trusted AI, real-time data, CRM. We've got a CXO audience listening in here. What advice would you give to them?
So one of the favorite, I think it's an African proverb that I like to quote, is this idea that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. And I often say to my own children, actually, don't wait 20 years, don't wait 20 months, don't even wait 20 days. Start now. And I actually say the same thing to CXOs. I think that it's really important to jump on the AI bandwagon, right away. Not necessarily, do it too fast, not do it too broadly, but start experimenting, because you see the pace at which this is evolving. I hardly read any content anymore that's more than a month old.
Wow.
Because anything that's older than a month, I find is obsolete. It's not relevant anymore. The new apps, the new generation of apps that get released every month, every week, at a staggering pace is just unbelievable. And so this idea that a CEO himself or herself and the entire organization needs to start to practice, to play with AI right away is important, because there's going to be soon a huge difference between the people who will, know how to use the AI and the people who will not. And it's kind of like, if you imagine today, people who don't use a computer or a cell phone, well, probably they're far less effective than somebody who is using them. And I think that what we're going to see with the LLMs and the power of generative AI at the scale of billions is an acceleration that people need to get ready for right away.
Really interesting, and throughout the conversation here, we've talked about shifts in technology. I think you mentioned fire, electricity, phones, computers. Do you think that there is a chance here that existing companies will be disrupted completely here, or can organizations that embrace this technology get ahead of it?
I think it's a very good question. I think we're going to see, like always, brand new companies get at the forefront and create, trillion-dollar market caps in spaces that we couldn't have imagined. We're going to see new jobs. I did a post recently on LinkedIn on is prompt engineering the new chief creative officer, and so you're going to have a real disruption that's going to require constantly to adopt generative AI, but also constantly reskill yourself, reskill your workforce, and reskill yourself. And I think that it's a fascinating time to be alive, actually, because as much as indeed we are going to see, I'm sure, some challenges of AI, we've never been at a moment in time where there's going to be an acceleration and a transformation that to me is not just redefining productivity or even redefining creativity. I almost tend to think that it has the potential to redefine intelligence. We've been thinking that intelligence is something that defines us as a human race, and the reality suddenly we have the ability to augment intelligence to levels that are going to surpass our own human limitation. And if we are very smart in the way we do this, we are collectively going to reach another level of intelligence that's going to actually enable us to do things, to achieve things, to solve problems, including medical problems, and that we couldn't have imagined solving, at least not in our lifetime.
Marc, thank you so much again. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation today around emerging technologies, and we did it in Singapore. Thanks again.
Well, it was great to be here. I enjoyed it as well. Thanks for bringing me to Singapore. I spent 6 or 7 years of my life here when I had small children who loved the weather and everything that Singapore has to offer. So very glad to be here. I was here for this, but also for a few other meetings, some of which on generative AI.
My top 3 takeaways of our conversation today. The pace of AI innovation is accelerating, and it truly will impact all businesses and individuals. The best time to get started is right now. And proceed responsibly in this new area of AI and use an AI that you can trust. If you want to catch up on all the chats we've had so far with some of the most interesting and valued executives in our ecosystem, visit sfdc.co/conversations. We are covering the ideas and concepts that are top of mind for executives and leaders within business to share, inspire, and help you connect with your customers in a whole new way. So far, we've covered, amongst other things, transforming customer service, driving success now, flexibility and productivity for better business outcomes. Thank you for tuning into our executive conversations. See you next time.
You want me to look always at the camera?
Or at me. Wow, it sounds like a fighter jet. What is that? Next time we're next to an airbase. You knew.
Yeah, we could hire a boat. At some point I had the feeling that I had a fly on the head.
It was a very small, it was very,
it was
like a fruit
small,
fly.
so that's why I stopped.
Sorry, do that again. I don't know what word was coming up there. What should you tell them? That's in the hot takes later. Yeah, it's a great blooper.